Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Raw Politics. It is my hope that you're doing fine wherever you are. Following his two interviews with the mainstream media, there are some who are feeling that Fred Matiangi is a mole, a Ruto's mole. And so in this video, we are going to answer the question, is Matiangi Fred a Ruto's mole in the opposition? If that is a topic that interests you, I urge you to continue watching. And if you're watching us for the first time, take a moment, subscribe to the channel so that whenever we produce videos of this nature, you will be notified. Ladies and gentlemen, like I told you at the beginning of this video, there are those who expected that Matiangi was going to be very, very anti-Ruto in his interviews. But what they got was somebody who was really reserved. When it came to criticizing President Ruto, you didn't hear Matiangi calling Ruto Kasongo or I don't know other names. No, he didn't. And so people became suspicious. They were like, if this is the man he wants to replace, and the playbook of the opposition is to paint William Ruto as the devil incarnate, in fact, they say their only agenda is to remove Ruto from power. They will figure out what to do thereafter. But the only agenda, the only thing they need to do as a people, as an opposition, is removing William Ruto. According to one of their spokesperson in ODM, Edwin Sifuna, that is the only agenda, and it is more important than infrastructural development, than universal health care and other things, that the opposition doesn't need to convince Kenyans what they will do better than William Ruto. All they have to tell Kenyans is that William Ruto has to be one term, nothing else. And so Matiangi did not give that vibe. During his interview on NTV, the one that they said was pre-recorded, and even when he did an interview with Kameme, in both cases, Matiangi was very reserved. He didn't appear like someone who is so angry at Ruto the way you would see from Rigathi Gachagua and sometimes in Kalonzo Musyoka. Like I said, Matiangi had a lot of breaks. He would be like, I wouldn't do that, I would say that. He would even give credit to the likes of Kindiki, who was serving with Ruto, for being nice to him during the transition period and other things. And so, like I said, there are people who have looked at those two and they argue that Matiangi could be Ruto's mole, that he is somebody who has been brought on board to take advantage of the youth support and deny the opposition a chance to remove William Ruto. Now, on what are they basing this? This issue of malls is not new, ladies and gentlemen. It is something that has happened before in Kenya. The recent case is one Wajakoya. You remember Wajakoya was a political project by Uhuru Kenyatta and his team to take the youth vote. Their persuasion was that Ruto was going to win the youth vote. And so Wajakoya was allowed to go to rallies and share things and do things that ordinarily you would be arrested for, but which the powers that be believed that were going to attract the youth towards him. And it was very visible with the Wajakoya case. It was very easy to know that he was a mole, because Wajakoya is not a poor person, is not a beggar, but is not a man of serious financial means. So seeing him launching his party in a big way, or getting the media coverage that he was getting, and at times launching it concurrently with something significant on the Ruto side. So for instance, if Ruto was launching his manifesto, then on that particular day, Wajakoya will also be launching his manifesto, and then the media will give you a split screen, meaning that they were equating Wajakoya and Ruto as a similar presidential candidate. So it was very easy to see that Wajakoya was just a project. Mutahi Ngunyi even explained that Wajakoya was their project. By then, Mutahi Ngunyi was one of the consultants for the Uhuru's team. So Wajakoya was a project. So having projects, ladies and gentlemen, or having political stooges that are aimed at taking advantage of a specific group and denying the opposition the votes they need to win is not something new, ladies and gentlemen. It is not something new. It has happened. So when people think that Matiangi, because he's not very aggressive, because he's not anti-Ruto, might be a stooge, it's not something out of the ordinary. Personally, I don't think Matiangi is William Ruto's stooge. Not because Matiangi and William Ruto have a past, considering that William Ruto was demoted and Matiangi was given his roles when he was the deputy president. And Matiangi didn't spare William Ruto. He really was very condescending to William Ruto. So that passed aside because politicians have shown us that when their interests are aligned, they can put aside their past differences. So I am not saying that he can't be William Ruto's mole or agent in the opposition because of their past during Uhuru's time. However, I am looking at it from the angle that who was launching Matiangi, who brought Matiangi's candidature to the fore. It is Jubilee. And as you know, Jubilee party is headed by Uhuru Kenyatta. So why is this important? Jubilee party feels that it is not supposed to play second fiddle to UDA. And of course, it doesn't want DCP to take over Mount Kenya. So Jubilee Party is in the process of reviving itself. And they believe that the person who is going to help them revive the party is none other than Matiangi. And so if Matiangi is Uhuru's project as it is claimed, I use a big if here. If it is Uhuru's project as it is claimed, then it cannot be that at the same time is William Ruto's project. And some will say that no, you can do both. Perhaps it is a plan between, it is an agreement between William Ruto and Uhuru that you put Matiangi there, scatter some votes, and then we talk after election. The problem with that is Matiangi, if he is Uhuru's project, is going to depend majorly on the Kikuyu vote. And this Kikuyu vote, as of now, is controlled by none other than Rigathi Gachagua. Not all, but a majority, a significant number of Kikuyu votes is controlled by Rigathi Gachagua. So if Rigathi Gachagua is controlling the Kikuyu vote, and Uhuru Kenyatta and Rigathi Gachagua are not seeing eye to eye, and Uhuru Kenyatta wants to use, let's say, Matiangi as Uruto's project to scatter the votes, it will not work because Rigathi would rather take Kikuyu's votes elsewhere. And without Kikuyu's vote, ladies and gentlemen, Matiangi going into election might just benefit from the Kisii vote, which is not significant as compared to the Kikuyu votes. There are so many moving parts in this deal that I don't think it makes sense. So in my opinion, Matiangi might not be Ruto's project. Now, I'm not saying that that is permanent because what if Matiangi decides that he's not vying, that is coming to support Ruto later as we move into 2027? So in politics, especially Kenyan politics, you cannot rule out a political realignment. So it is possible they can realign and be friends and work together into 2027. However, as of the time of producing this video, it doesn't make sense politically that Uhuru Kenyatta would have a candidate that depends on the Kikuyu votes, a Kikuyu vote that is controlled by Rigathi, and then hope to help to use that particular candidate, Matiangi that is, to maybe break the opposition. I don't think it doesn't work. But what if, let's go to the what if. What if Matiangi was a project? How can it dent the opposition chances of winning? Very simple. One, Matiangi can go to the ballot, no matter what, decide to vie. Chances are he's going to get most of the Kisii votes and a few sympathizers from the middle class and other people. Maybe he becomes number 3 or number 4 in the election. And as such, ladies and gentlemen, he would have denied the opposition the Kisii vote if it mattered to them. If it's a closely contested election, then losing the Kisii vote would be counterproductive to the opposition. Two, he can just decide to be humble, be the candidate, vie, be supported by the entire opposition, and then at last minute change his mind and say, after consulting himself, he doesn't see why he should vie for the presidency. That Ruto has done a lot of things, and do it at a time when it is impossible for the likes of Rigathi Gachagua to bring in a new person. That is just me now overthinking. But I was telling you that if he was a candidate and he was an agent of William Ruto, the most realistic way he can have a dent is if he was to take away the Kisii vote and some votes of the middle class, which is not a lot, especially the middle class votes, because they rarely vote anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, that is what I wanted to share with you. If you are to forget everything, just remember that I was answering the question, is Matiangi a stooge of William Ruto in the opposition? Is it there to wreck the opposition from within and hand over William Ruto victory? And I have told you, in my opinion, I believe Matiangi is Uhuru's project. And if he's not Uhuru's project, then he is going to be pushed into a coalition where Rigathi calls the shots. And in such a coalition, ladies and gentlemen, it is very difficult to be a Ruto's agent, because if he's paired with Kalonzo as a running mate, or is paired with Rigathi as a running mate, then their aim is to bring Ruto down, not to help him win. And two, I have said, if Matiangi was to be an agent, let's say every circumstance favored him being a Ruto's agent, the most damage he can do to the opposition is maybe get the Kisii votes. That is what I think, ladies and gentlemen. If you agree with my position, let me know in the comment section. If you have another view, another angle on this, let's say you are persuaded Matiangi is a mole, also feel free to share in the comment section so that we engage, because like I told you, we are here to hear from each other. These are just my opinion, and you can share yours so that we learn, we get better perspective. Otherwise, don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to share the video. And if you are yet to subscribe to the channel, take a moment, subscribe. It is free. It just helps the channel grow and also ensures that you are notified whenever we produce videos of this nature. Ladies and gentlemen, that is all I wanted to say. In case you want to know whether Kalonzo Musyoka is a Ruto's agent in the opposition or not, watch this video.